If I can have your attention here in the Media Center, we will go ahead and continue on with today's post-race media availability for the 13th annual AAA Texas 500. We are joined by the crew chief of the winning car, and that's Rodney Childers, crew chief of the number 4 Mobile One Ford for Stewart Haas Racing. And Rodney, that 78 car has been the dominant car on mile-and-a-half tracks this year, but boy, that 4 car really showed its worth today. Talk about the preparation that went into that car and what got you to victory lane today.
First, I was wondering if I looked goofy. I just told Claire that I always see the pictures from victory lane, and Chad always looked goofy with his hat on, and I was wondering if I did too. Overall, you know, it's just a great weekend. You know, in all honesty, we've had good speed lately. You know, we probably could have won a few races here lately and just, you know, didn't do our jobs, whether we made a mistake on pit road or, you know, different things. But, you know, we had a good car at Chicago, we had a good car at Dover, a good car at Kansas. You know, it's all about just putting it all together on the right day. And some days that's hard to do. And but we've got a great group, you know, that has worked really hard back at the shop, you know, building a great race car. Doug and all his guys at the engine shop have worked, you know, day and night trying to get their side of it better. Everybody at Ford has, you know, just done anything that we've asked them to do and you know, keep pushing to try to make each other better. And it's been a team effort. So just happy to get one in victory lane. I feel like we should have won more races this year, and it's disappointing. You know, I don't like to lose, and you know, it's been a hard year, and so you know, to finally get one back into victory lane and to feel like we have something that we can race with the last, you know, 4 or 5 weeks has been impressive to me, and just really looking forward to racing at Phoenix next week. I should say I'm looking forward to racing at Homestead, but I want to go win Phoenix first, and then we'll worry about Homestead.
Okay, we're also joined by team owner Tony Stewart. And Smoke, congratulations. Welcome back to the Championship 4. As Rodney mentioned, this has not been an easy season for this race team. What has gotten this race team to this point where you're now going to be contending for a championship in Miami?
First of all, I'm a little disappointed that I don't get a chance to see Eddie ride in here with a bunch of neon hats and jackets and all that crap that he had going on. But I've been in Charlotte all weekend running dirt stuff. But to be honest, it's Rodney and his leadership and you know, these guys on this Ford team. I mean, and Kevin, of course. They're such a strong group together, and you know, there's different things that we battled through the season. I mean, obviously we had a big switch in manufacturer over the winter to Ford, and but even on top of that, I mean, you know, like Rodney said, when we've struggled this year, and it wasn't because of that. I mean, we had a lot to overcome with that change, but at the same time, everybody in the field had an aero change, aero package wise too. So I don't know that even if we didn't have the manufacturer change, that we still wouldn't have maybe struggled a little bit to try to find the equation. But I think most of all, what's encouraging is this team, you know, these guys never, you know, they never give in. They never get the morale down. I mean, if they have a bad week, it seems like these guys in particular really just dig in deeper and get their feet in the ground. And, you know, but I think what I saw tonight is something that I'm really encouraged about. And it wasn't just the fact of winning this race, but it's just how it was won and, you know, how Kevin drove those last 20, 25 laps. I mean, I know Kevin, and I can tell watching his driving style. I mean, there's something that that field and those other 3 guys that are going to make it to Homestead here in a couple weeks, they got something to be worried about, because I've seen this man when he gets locked in like this, and I mean, he's strong right now.
Okay, congratulations. We'll now open the floor up for questions. We'll start up here at Bob, then go to Lewis, and then to Jerry.
Bob Harpers, ESPN. Rodney, kind of like what Tony was talking about, I'm curious, is kind of Kevin the Bull back? You know, the guy who tweeted that thing last year, the Bull running around. Is that the kind of attitude and focus you've seen from him?
You know, I think it is. I don't know if I would call it the Bull. He's just, you know, laser focused and does his job. But, you know, it's really about giving him stuff to work with. You know, his tool is the race car, and if we don't give him good tools to work with, he's not going to do a good job. And, you know, I think, making our race cars better and making the horsepower better and getting our setups better and all the things that we've worked really hard on the last 2 months has just gave him something that he can work with. And that's really what's important. All these guys are so good at what they do. And if you can ever get him what he wants to feel, and, I think you got something there. And I knew when we unloaded at Dover, he said that, it felt more like 2014, 2015. And as soon as he said those words, I knew we had something that we were going to start being able to work with.
Go next to Lewis and then to Jerry.
Louis Frank of Reuters, over to your right. This way. Thank you. If you were on the radio with Kevin during that last stint, what was going on?
I don't talk to him when he's like that. Honestly, nobody needs to. The more stuff you have going on in your head, that's more brain cells and memory that's getting used up. So, he gets locked on like that, and it's up to him. And I have to be honest, we were behind the 22 there, and fighting to try to get by him. And I was like, man, if we can ever get by him, we might have a shot at the 11. We got by the 22, and my engineer, Dak, said, no, we're going to catch them both. And I was like, man, I don't know if we can catch 78. He goes, no, we're going to catch him. And I was like, all right. So he was right. But just, Kevin, he changed some things around there at the end and figured some stuff out. And that's the type of person he is. That's the type of driver he is. He never gives up. And he moves around and fights for everything he can get. And he's the one that made the difference today.
Jerry?
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net, Performance Racing Network. Tony, on Friday, you lost the title here for the fastest lap. Does this make up for Kurt beating you out for the record here?
He's fourth now, just so y'all know.
But I did it first when it wasn't grippy and new. So I joked around at the track because I was with Donnie Schatz, who drives my World Outlaw team, and I said, there's a driver and crew chief going to get fired Monday morning. And then I realized I couldn't fire the other guys that broke the record too, so I got to let them off the hook. But it's if anybody had to break it and have the new record, I'm glad it's in our organization. I'm glad it's Kurt and Gibson. They did an awesome job, and I mean, Kurt knows how to lay a lap down like that. So it's cool to see him, be able to pull something like that off. I mean, it's sad because I hate to lose that record, but if you're going to lose it, you want to lose it to somebody in-house, and those are two guys that I don't mind losing it to. So, it's kind of like the battles I've had with AJ Foyt. He's like, I won 4 Indy 500s. I said, well, I won 3 Cup championships. And then he goes, well, check the record books. He always wins. And so when Kurt told me, when I saw Kurt today, and he's like, sorry about that, I said, don't worry, I did it first before you ever did. So we're all good.
Okay, we'll head upstairs to the press box.
I have a question for Mr. Rodney Schilders, Wolfgang Monza, Rennsport Press Agency from Germany. It's a technical question. First of all, congratulations. Starting under this hot weather condition, how important is the aero package? Is it necessary to make any changes to the aero package under hot weather conditions?
I mean, the biggest thing is just making sure you're going to be okay as far as your tape on the nose going into the race. We ended up being a little bit too conservative on that and was able to make our car better by that. But I have to be honest, I sent him a message this morning. I told him, I said, I have no idea what this racetrack's going to do. It's either going to be loose or tight. So we're going to leave it alone. And
that's way to step out on the edge here, bud.
I said, we're going to leave it alone and figure it out. And he said, awesome. So we figured it out, though. But, you don't know. If it was a wore-out racetrack, normally when it's a lot warmer the next day on race day, the car would be a lot freer. You would tighten the car up before the race. The repaves have always been a little different. You don't know exactly where it's going to be. A lot of them, end up being loose to start and then get way tight. But we fought being too tight the whole weekend. But I have to commend the racetrack and everybody at NASCAR for dragging tires for as long as they did. The track was in so much better shape on Friday than what it was when we got here in the spring, and they really did a good job of trying to get it in a really good condition before we got here.
Any additional questions here in the deadline room? Let's go to Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports, for both Tony and Rodney. Start with Tony. The switch to Ford, a lot of people would say that was a big risk. Certainly it was a big challenge to overtake during the offseason. Is this, does it feel good validation that now you've got a car in the championship round the first year with them?
Well, even we said it was a big risk, but at the same time, when we were looking and assessing whether it was the right thing to do, we said there's huge opportunities for there to be big rewards with it as well. And I don't know, it's validation yet. I mean, we still got a job to do these next 2 weeks to validate it. But, I mean, I think something that's been really encouraging from day one is how much we kind of fit their program right off the bat. I mean, and we had a great relationship with Chevy for all those years. And we still feel like, personnel-wise, there's a lot of people there that still feel like family. But to start working with a group of people that we didn't know very well and didn't know at all, how quickly and easily the Ford people made us feel like we were part of their family right off the bat. I think it just made that transition even easier for us. And not necessarily that so much that it's validation, just that, when you feel like you're working with people that you're a family with, you want to make sure you get them results too. So I think it's more validation on their side than ours. I mean, I don't think, no matter what body you put on this car, I think this team can overcome and get results out of it. But I'm really excited about the program we're on and working with the people that we're working with at Ford, and looking forward to seeing what we can do in 2 weeks and hopefully get them another championship.
Rodney, kind of the same question for you, but I know you and Kevin feed off challenges. Was this a challenge that you guys feel like you've now met getting in the championship round?
I know the first time he called me and told me he was ready for the challenge, for sure. I wasn't sure if I was, but now that we've been through this chase, these last 5 races, you always assess yourself, and we did a lot of complaining to ourselves, sitting in meetings and saying, oh, well, they got more downforce and they got more power and those type of things. And I look back on that, and that was my fault. I was never that way in 2014. I was never that way in 2015. And really, it come down to a couple months ago. We're like, why are we complaining? Like, we're not going to fix their part. We're not going to take downforce away from them, or we're not going to take down, horsepower away from them. And it's like, all right, we've got to change what we're doing. We've got to decide if we want to win races and race for a championship. And we started building way better race cars. We started having way better setups, and we went for 3.5 years without changing any shocks. We ran the same 4 shocks for 3.5 years, and then all of a sudden we put these other 4 on, and the thing's on fire. So, that's the kind of things that you have to work on, and that's there's people out there like Chad Knaus that never settle, and that's the reason that they win championships. And I feel like over the last 2 months that we have done a good job of not settling and making our cars better and going racing, and the hell with everybody else. We need to worry about ourselves, and if we give him the right tools on the racetrack, he's going to win races with it. So I'm just proud of having that backing from whether it's Smoke or Zippy or everybody at the shop. Everybody has worked their butts off the last 2 months to try to make things better, and they have. So just fortunate to be in a place, in a position where the crew chiefs can make a difference and lead the way a little bit. And to be honest, I didn't do a good job leading the way. And then, the last 2 months I've tried to do a better job. So I'm just fortunate to be in a place that I can do that. I don't mean, I would never, point at anybody, because I thought we were behind everybody. But it wasn't Ford's fault, and that's why I don't like to sit up here and say it's Ford this, Ford that. It's not Ford's problem. It's our problem as a race team, and that's what has made the difference. The guys at the engine shop and the guys at the car shop built better race cars, and they built better engines, and we got a better setup in the car. So, that's what it's about. It's not about pointing fingers and blaming people or whatever. It's about building the best stuff that you can build and going and racing it.
Go next to Holly, then to Bob.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Rodney, I want to ask you, now that you have gotten in and clinched, and we know that you or Kevin and Kyle and Martin are definitely 3 of the 4. Is that kind of about what you would have figured? Is this about how, you know, you kind of sized up the competition, or do you not even look at that whatsoever? Who you're
Oh, it's exactly what I thought it would be. But, you know, just like in 2015, I felt like we raced the best there was for the championship. You know, Kyle won the race and we finished second, and it was close. And they barely beat us, and, you know, we won one championship, finished second in another, and, you know, we didn't do a good enough job. We learned a lot from that race. We learned a lot again last year. So, you know, I feel like it's a good racetrack for Kevin, but, you know, it's all about having the car right. You know, I felt like in 2014 we had a bit of an advantage. Our cars were a little bit better, and we could be risky and do some things and put 4 tires on it when nobody else did, and he's just going to drive it back to the front. But this year has been so close between everybody. You know, all the different manufacturers, and like I said earlier, you got such good drivers right now, and it's tight out there. I mean, if you're off a half a tenth, you're going to run 5th or 6th. So it's close.
Go next to Bob, and then upstairs to Lee.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. Rodney, you said that Kevin said, was it? Did you say Dover, where he said it starting to feel like 2014? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we made big gains on it. We changed a lot of stuff around going to Chicago, and we knew right then that we were headed in the right direction. We had a good car, and then when we got to Dover, yeah, we made a mistake on pit road. But when you really look at the times for the whole race and all that stuff, you know, he came in Monday morning after Dover, and he said, if we can make it drive like that every week, we're going to be in good shape. It felt a lot more like 14 and 15. So,
yeah, I guess I want to ask, what does that mean when he says that it's
I
like
would never tell you,
2014?
Bob.
I mean, does it just feel like that the car will do anything that he wants it to do? Is that
No. Sorry.
Don't be sorry if you tell him I'm going to kick your ass.
Before we have fisticuffs here in the deadline room, let's go upstairs to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. For the race team owner there, do you anticipate Kurt Busch will be back with the team next season, Smoke?
We're still working through all that, but, you know, obviously it's pretty busy right now. I mean, obviously we're going to have a big announcement next week for the 10 car, and we're still working on the 41 right now, but that's our goal is to have Kurt back in that car for next year.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations on the victory. Congratulations on punching your ticket into the championship 4. We'll see you in Phoenix and then on the Homestead.
Thank you.
Thank you.